Who said that? Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, first open mic night at a public library, and to be honest, I did not write any material for this. I'm really glad to start, so half of this stuff is probably going to sound terrible.
Good job.
Let's see. But first, I really feel this is important. I need to give a shout out to the guys who set this up, the entire set of guys at the teen department, not only for setting this up, but for putting up with me and my friends on an almost constant basis. And I have to apologize for some of our actions, but what are we going to do? We're teenagers.
You're teenagers, right? We forgive you.
It's okay, thank you very much. So yeah, this is... I'm not going to admit this stand-up is going to be absolutely terrible, but I will say this. Half of the jokes that I was going to use, I can't use because I must follow George Carlin's 7 words you can never say on television. I would repeat them, but I have a certain thing against getting thrown out of a public library. I know that the joke was terrible. So yeah. Well, what else can we say? There's nothing much to really do on a weekend anymore. Unless, of course, your idea of fun is going to the mall, finding some friends, and God knows getting into what kinds of trouble. Is that ever called? You cannot actually wait outside the mall to wait for your parents to pick you up because they'll ask you to wait inside. And I'm just like, okay, is this Soviet Russia? Because seriously, why can't you just wait outside for the ride? Because it's not like you have a little homing beacon in your head and you can just wait inside and your parents know, oh, they're there. No, they're not psychic. If my parents were psychic, you know what would happen? We would get grounded almost every single second of almost every day because frankly, we're going to be back talking them on our minds on a constant basis. Just think about how often you get in trouble as it is and multiply that by times 15 million. It's not fun. So what else is there? There was a tsunami that hit Japan, I'm not going to lie. That was really, really terrible. Truth be told, they say it was going to hit Hawaii. They evacuated that place, and they say it's going to hit California. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a cold person, but are we really going to miss California? I mean, seriously, because Hollywood has been terrible to us for these last few years. Terrible movies. It's a rehash, it's a remake. They're making Little Red Riding Hood into a horror movie. The grandmother. The one thing that made you do as a little kid was make you fear the zoo. Because you see the wolf, you're like, Mommy, please don't make me go there. I don't want to get eaten like Grandma did. Try explaining that to your kid. It is terrible. And then you have 2-bit TV shows that really make you wish you lived in the 1950s. Because it was black and white, it was camp, but at least you had Adam West as Batman. You know Batman? What's that? It's a terrible rendered shark robbing. But we do have some good things. CGI. It's putting a lot of actors out of work. They said the Writers Guild strike was terrible. I'm willing to bet a few years we're going to have the Actors Guild strike because nobody can get work. We can't hire an actor? Oh well, just draw somebody on a computer, put them in a movie, and act like they're there. I think George Lucas makes his money. They blew up the Death Star. The Stormtroopers went out of work for that. Next thing you know, everybody else is going to be out of work. But there is a movie that does sound interesting, Battle for LA. Aliens invading, and let's face it, the alien invasion should have been on the movie screen years ago. Oh, wait, hold on, let me say. That was done in the 50s and the 30s. War of the Worlds, the radio drama, the remake, whatever you want to call it, that was an alien invasion. But nowadays we have stereotypical aliens, because, I mean, come on, they're not little green men or little gray men. We don't know what the hell they're going to look like. Klingons, for all we know. They could be metronomes. For Christ's sake, they could be Nemodians.
Yep.
Now that means we're going to have the total Republic and we're going to have lots of clone troopers running the streets just to find down the aliens. So that's everyone. So we have that. What else do we have here that's absolutely terrible? Music.
Oh.
You turn on the radio station. Next thing you know, you hear some 2-bit dude, singing some really, really, really crappy love song. What happens to the heart and the soul? I mean, seriously. Now, it's prepackaged by corporations who just want to make the money. Now, let's face it, they made their millions. Can they just please put on something good? Because I can only take so much of this before I'm ready to just go nuts. And what about TV shows, huh? When was the last time anybody saw a good TV show? That wasn't a rerun.
The 90s.
Very few and far between, which makes me envy the children of the 80s because they had classics. They had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Orioles. They had whatever else they had.
There we go.
And they had the good games, and they had the good games. Even if they were 8-bit and you had to use your imagination, which would make most of our brains hurt today. Well, what else do we have? The music of the 80s was actually pretty good, even though, let's face it, half the dudes look like chicks. If you went to a concert in the 80s, you would do your very well best to stay away from the drugs. You don't know what you're doing when you're on the drugs to begin with, but in the 80s, you think you wake up next to a chick, next thing you know, you're waking up to a dude. You know, this was worse than New Year's, this was worse than New Year's. I actually went to a Rolling Stones concert. Speaking of the Stones, how old are those guys anyway? Ancient? I could have sworn I actually heard a rumor that they might have actually gone around playing in the 40s at USO shows. Come on, those guys are ancient. So how about that blizzard we had? We had like 5 of them this winter. And Al Gore says still does not disprove global warming. Last few years, we had next to no blizzards. Like maybe one little flurry of snow in maybe January or whatever. This year, we get so much it takes 3 months for it to melt. And there's still some of the parking lots at Best Buy. Shopping carts literally on top of mountains of snow. And you think, what? It makes you think, how did they get there? It's a shopping cart! But of course, we don't know the answer. A wizard did it. Speaking of wizards, what's up with Voldemort? I mean, seriously, come on. He's got no nose. I think it's because he likes snakes. And I don't mean the good kind of snake that saves the world from giant robots, no. I mean the snakes that had no nose, they slither around and they bite you if you so much. I say they look funny. Or, it's because he just thought, noses are for muggles. I'm Voldemort, I don't need anything. Oh yes, you're so powerful, yet at the same time you get killed by a nasty boy. And it's gotta be the worst way to die, think about it. An epic battle between good and evil. Next thing you know, you're out of immortality devices. Apparently, in the wizard world, those things are cheap. I would say made in Germany, but at least the German cars run good, and they don't have great problems. So we don't have to worry about that, seriously. We don't need any accidents in the highways. So, yeah. Probably made in some wizard form of China. Oh, that's gotta be lovely. You know what? I actually wish they did have magic. Because, how many times have you stood outside a locked classroom and you're just waiting for the teacher to show up because you just don't feel like standing there? You wish you had a lockpick. They don't sell lockpicks because that'll encourage thievery. Well, it could encourage thievery. But last time I checked, we just want to get in there. You lock yourself out of your house and you don't have a spare key. What are you supposed to do? Wait 4 hours for your parents to get home and let you in? Go around the back to see if you can get in? No, they lock the back door because they're afraid someone's going to go in there and try and steal your mother's secret cake recipe. It's a cake recipe. It's special. It's special. No, you can't steal the cake recipe. Yet, of course, they want to steal the cake recipe. But the cake is a lie, people. It is a lie.
Jersey Shore!
What?
What?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Jersey Shore! Ew.
Oh, God. Do not get me started on that.
Go.
Watching it. Thank you for making
Why
me...
me into this?
Because you're my sister and I hate you and love you at the same time. You're watching it. Every other word. It's bleep this, bleep that. I mean, come on, people. Have some class. You're giving Italians a bad name. I mean, come on. They already had a rough in the 20th century with the mafia. But at least the mafia's every other word wasn't one of the 7 dirty words. That and the orange spray tents. I mean, come on. Now, I'm desperate for a woman. But Snooki, I look at her and I'm like, what? Touch on the 10-foot pole. So we have that, and then, you know, it's just like, you know what? New Jersey has a bad rap already. Don't make it any worse for them, because, you know, you walk up to, you're a Porsche, you're going around. See, people are like, oh yeah, I'm from New York, oh, I'm from Chicago. You know, it might kind of suck, but you know what? We had Al Capone. Yeah, well, I'm from New Jersey. Get out. Get out. But we don't want you sorry orange spray tan butt hair. Get out. But of course we can't. But of course people won't do that because, as we know, everybody from Jersey is jacked and has a really fake orange spray tan. But half of that's probably on steroids. But really, no dude can be that ripped without having some power, unless of course he's Chuck Norris. That's the only exception to the rule. So what else do we have?
Justin Bieber.
Charlie Sheen.
Justin Bieber! Go Bieber!
Justin Bieber! Started on a little girl. Started. Sully. I love you too. Oh, by the way, we will control Northern Ireland. We will so do it, you Irish. We'll do it. Anyways, Justin Bieber. Or should I say, Justina? I have pictured the music industry to the point where I am afraid to turn on the radio because I'm afraid I'm going to hear. Oh, shut up! And here's the sad part. Here's the sad part. He's my age. He sounds like a 12-year-old, maybe even less.
Sounds like Justin.
When I hit 12, I was already getting deeper. It cracked every now and then, but come on, it was deeper than that. I swear to God, I swear to God, my 8-year-old cousin has a voice deeper than that, and that is very sad. That is very sad.
My 5-year-old cousin does.
The only good thing about him, though, is he managed. I think word is he's going out with Selena Gomez, and I gotta give him credit for that. But honest than that, please go back to Canada, play some hockey, be a man. What else is there in the world, huh?
Gabe Newell.
Who?
Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen. I can't say much about the guy because, to be honest, I only watched like maybe 2 episodes of 2.5 Men.
So I need to get storyline.
Well, let's put it this way: I saw 2.5 episodes, and now they're down to half a man. I'm not gonna lie, that joke was terrible. But they're down to half a man. Charlie Sheen, we love you, but come on, dude, get your act together. I don't know what is going on in his mind, but we need good celebrities. I mean, seriously, come on. What happened to the good celebrities when they could be role models instead of what not to turn out like? Because, son, I want you to grow up to be like William Shatner or Leonard Nimoy one day. Because that way you'll at least be commanding the Starship Enterprise. Now it's like, son, do not grow up to be Snoop Dogg because you will be in jail. You will be in jail with your pants down to your knees and you'll be singing some songs that I cannot sing because I don't want to get kicked out. But every other word has to do with either drugs or women. Or violence.
Or weapons.
Weapons?
Weapons, anything. It's stuff that you really shouldn't be able to say. And that's another thing. What happened to the old rock and roll songs where there were some swear words in there, or there was some innuendos, but nowadays it's considered offensive. Meanwhile, you could have Snoop Dogg over there with his pants down low, and he's singing about something about doing something to a woman he met in Vegas, and I'm not getting into the details because I can only get kicked out. But nonetheless, what? Is this a double standard, or is the world just gone crazy?
Yes.
It's both. But what else is there we can? What else is there that we can say today? Huh?
Mario's
Mario.
great. Mario's great.
You have been Nintendo's lapdog for almost 30 years, and yet nowadays you're being replaced by middle-aged housewives who have nothing else to do. We think. Congratulations. You still have to sit down and at least play some decent video games. What's big now? Black Ops?
Modern Warfare 2!
I played it for a good 5 minutes. It was adequate. Modern Warfare 2, it was adequate.
COD 4?
That was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty good. World at War was good. Not for the Nazi zombies, but because you could actually go into the Reichstag and say, "These you dirty Germans!" and blow some legs off.
Exactly.
Blow some legs off. Because nowadays, I'm really starting to think that our uniforms are so tightly. You think they would lose a leg, but they don't. It stays there. But on the inside, it's completely severed. It's severed.
Oh, no.
I mean, really. And then we have things about how, war is, wow, war is bad and everything, yet almost every single other successful game is a war game. War's not fun. War ain't cool. Peace is cool. Because, I mean, really, what's war ever done for us? Yes, it's war about peace. Yes, it's war about a few little civil wars in the past. But really, do we need war?
Yes.
No. As the hippies used to say, make love, not war. What happened to that saying? What happened to the love, not the war?
It switched to make love, not Warcraft.
There you go.
World of Warcraft is still going strong, I will add. And no, Leroy Jenkins will not be joining us tonight. He has a date with some night elves in Azeroth. So, what else is there?
Duke
Nukem Forever.
Duke Nukem Forever! Oh my god, that game is finally coming out. It's only... how many years late?
10 years.
Here's your screenshot. 1997. It keeps on going and going. Next thing you know, bam! Development team switch. Boom! It gets a release date. I'm actually excited for it, and I only played like a demo for Duke Nukem 3D.
What?
It is actually going to be good. Do you know why? There's no realism. The slightest bit of realism is probably going to be the grit, because as we know, all games today, they don't work on colors that are happy and cheerful. It's monotone. It's black and white. Only difference is black has been replaced with gray and brown. Because every other color, it's not happy. It's depressing, very depressing. But on the lighter side, the cake will not be a lie. Because we will finally think with portals and liquids that make you go fast at the same time. But someone, you better have deep pockets because you are going to need to probably get a brand new computer. Otherwise, you will be staring at some very, 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 very terrible graphics. Well, what are you gonna do? They gotta make money somehow. They all gotta make money. Oh yes, make money in this economy. Where they say that gas is going up to $10 a gallon. What happened in the 1930s and 40s? There was actually a game I was playing. It was set in the 30s. Fill up a tank, $3, $3.42 or something like that. Nowadays it costs you an arm and a leg. Maybe sometimes $50 to fill up your tank. Oh yes, I want to drive, but at the same time I don't want to go poor. I have a house, I have a mortgage, I have kids. I don't want to spend it all on gas. Who's your wife? Yes, unless you're white or unless you're Bill Gates, because you can just afford anything in the world. So, anything else that I might have missed?
Guitar Hero.
You make fun of me.
Miley Cyrus, that's all you need to know. She is dead. She is deader than dead.
Finally.
She was good, but then she eventually became overexposed and died a very, very slow and painful celebrity death. Now,
Britney Spears.
we don't need a Britney. Her sister already went down that path. Her show got canceled. There's no need to drop her, because we really need to make these celebrities feel any worse than they already do. Because, I mean, they have to think, we were on top of the world, next thing you know, we're down at rock bottom. They're sitting there right along next to all of the failures in history. Unfortunately, I think I might be setting them. Unfortunately, I think I have a plot reserved down there, so... God, I'm gonna hate being dead. Room and board with dead people, and they're very, very terrible celebrities. On the bright side, though, if I do manage to get to a good plot, it'll be a party in heaven every day because there will be Thriller. Unless, of course, some people decide that Thriller is not appropriate for heaven. But what is appropriate? Is there really such a thing as appropriate? No, there's not. It's what people say is appropriate. Because really, what was appropriate in the 1950s in cartoons? Dropping anvils on chickens, shopping, a hunter going, hey, be quiet, I'm hunting rabbits. But no, it's not appropriate. Not appropriate. So, yeah, what else do we have? Absolutely nothing.
Women talk about the feelings.
Power Rangers.
Women talking about the feelings.
Mama. Power Rangers.
Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen. Yeah, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen.
I already spoke about Charlie Sheen. I can't say anything about the guy.
Women talking about their feelings.
I love you, man. You're practically my brother-in-law. But seriously,
David Head.
your hair is back. And that's what I love about it. Seriously, there's a pot of gold in there. Which is the iron part, after all. It's the iron part. The gold at the end of the rainbow. Only except...
No. Stand up and shake.
Come on, Logan. Be a man. Be a man. Come on, It's my brother-in-law, Logan Flynn. Thank you so much. You have been a wonderful audience. Good night, and best of luck.